Bring in the light, bring in the light, bring in the light of Shabbat. We light the lights of Shabbat. Bring in the light, bring in the light, bring in the light of Shabbat. Lehadlik ner shel Shabbat. Shabbat Shalom. May you have a peaceful day. Shabbat Shalom. May you have a restful day. Bring in the light, bring in the light, bring in the light of Shabbat. We light the lights of Shabbat. Bring in the light, bring in the light, bring in the light of Shabbat. Lehadlik ner shel Shabbat. Shabbat Shalom. As we watch the candles shine. Shabbat Shalom. Cover the challah, pour the wine. Bring in the light, bring in the light, bring in the light of Shabbat. We light the lights of Shabbat. Shabbat Shalom. Time to take a big deep breath. Shabbat Shalom. A special day for us to rest. Bring in the light, bring in the light, bring in the light of Shabbat. We light the lights of Shabbat. Lehadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Good evening, Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
It is such a pleasure to be together in this space. It is a great pleasure to be together in this air conditioning. And it is wonderful that we might begin Shabbat together. We do, as we are wont to do, Hine Matov, words found in your prayer book on page 10 or on the screens in front of us with the English words we'll be using this evening.
Hine matov umanayim shevet achim gam yachad. Hine matov umanayim shevet achim gam yachad. How good it is, how sweet it is to be together on this day. How good it is, how sweet it is to be together on this day. Hine matov, umanayim shevet achim gam yachad. Hine matov, umanayim shevet achim gam yachad. Shalom Aleichem, Shalom Aleichem, Salam Aleikum. Shalom Aleichem, Salam Aleikum. Shalom Aleichem, Salam Aleikum. Shalom Aleichem, Salam Aleikum. Hine matov, umanayim shevet achim gam yachad. Hine matov umanayim shevet achim gam yachad.
Not only is it a pleasure to welcome each of you, it is a true delight for our entire community to welcome Cantor Kalix Jacobson not only to our pulpit this evening, but indeed to our community. Cantor Kalix was recently ordained by the Hebrew Union College Jewish Institute of Religion and comes to us from St. Louis with a stopover in New York.
And also Jerusalem.
And Jerusalem, of course, for a year of study. And we are so excited to welcome them into our congregation, not only as our musician is tonight's service, but our service leader, our teacher of Torah, our pastoral caregiver, our friend, and so many of the roles that an ordained cantor brings to the community. But we're also excited to get to welcome a special family as we get to celebrate the birth of our newest member, or at least our youngest member. As we turn in our prayer books to page 2, before we invite a very proud grandmother to help us with the candles, we might offer words that are familiar to our ECDC program, familiar to our Kiddush Club and Big Sister Sophia, perhaps, as we sing these words, preparing ourselves to enter Shabbat. The words of Alana Jagoda's Bring in the Light can be found on the screen before us if you're with us in the Beit HaTefillah.
Bring in the light, bring in the light, bring in the light of Shabbat. We light the lights of Shabbat. Bring in the light, bring in the light, bring in the light of Shabbat. Lehadlik ner shel Shabbat. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. May you have a peaceful day, Shabbat Shalom. May you have a restful day. Bring in the light, bring in the light, bring in the light of Shabbat. Lihadlik ner shel Shabbat. Bring in the light, bring in the light, bring in the light of Shabbat. Lahadlik ner shel Shabbat. Shabbat Shalom. Time to take a big deep breath. Here we go. Shabbat Shalom. A special day for us to rest. Bring in the light, bring in the light, bring in the light of Shabbat. We light the lights of Shabbat. Bring in the light, bring in the light, bring in the light of Shabbat. Lahadlik ner shel Shabbat.
And indeed, we do bring in the lights of Shabbat on page 2 in your prayer book, as it is a pleasure to invite forward Grandmother Pam. What do your grandkids call you? Softa Pam. Perfect. To join us in lighting our Shabbat candles, page 2 in our prayer books.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech ha'olam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel
Thank you so much. And as we turn in our prayer books to page 5, recognizing the sweetness of Shabbat through our Shabbat evening Kiddush, I would invite you to rise if it is comfortable for you to do so, that we might join in this prayer, this blessing together. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho be'ahava u'v'ratzon hinchilanu אותנו קידשת מכל העמים, ושבת קודשך באהבה וברצון הנחלתנו. ברוך אתה אדוני מקדש השבת. Amen. A belated l'chaim.
L'chaim indeed. Friends, you are welcome to be seated, but Lily, would you bring your big sister Sophia and your parents Matthew and Anastasia up here that we might welcome you into this community? Come on up here and I'll trade spots with you. So it is such a pleasure to get to welcome you into this space. It's a great spot to look around, isn't it? As we bless you with a Hebrew name on this day, we're told in Jewish tradition that each of us might have 3 names. We have the name given to us by our parents, and indeed in the Zohar, the Jewish mystical tradition, parents are given a moment of prophecy, a moment of divine connection with God, to find those attributes that a name might represent. With the name given by our parents, we have the name that others call us, and we have the name that we make for ourselves. And we know that this young lady, through her parents' loving care, is going to make a good name that indeed makes this world a better place. And so it is a pleasure to ask upon you at this time a blessing using that Hebrew name. Eloheinu ve'Elohei avotenu ve'imotenu kayem et hayalda hazot laviv v'lima v'yigra shema b'Yisrael Adel bat Menachem v'Anastasia Yismacha b'yotzeit chalitza v'tagel ima b'fri v'itna zot hakatana gedola tiyeh kashem shenichnas lebrit kain tichanes letorah u'lechuppah u'lema'asim tovim. Our God and God of our ancestors, sustain this child through her parents' loving care, and let her be known among the people of Israel by the name Adel, daughter of Menachem v'Anastasia. May her name be a source of joy to her and inspire her to serve all people, all of humankind. May your parents be blessed in seeing the growth of your body and all of your development. And as you bring her into the covenant this day with wisdom and with patience, so too may you bring her into a life of good deeds, a marriage, God willing, one day in the future worthy of her, and a lifetime of study as well. To this we say, Amen. Would you say a few words about her name?
So Lily's name in Hebrew is Adele, after my grandmother, my mother's mother, who passed away right about the time that we found out about Lily. And her Hebrew name was probably pronounced Adel, we think actually, like in a Yiddish name. And her name also is after my wife's father's grandmother, and after our 2 other grandmothers that are still alive, Babasha Clara, and on the video here is Carolyn, so for her middle name, Lily Claire. And then also happy birthday to my father, who is also on video, hopefully. Here.
Happy birthday. If we can keep you here for one more words of blessing, those words of Birkat Kohanim that we can see on the screen behind us.
Yivarechecha Adonai ve'yishmerecha.
May God bless you and keep you.
Ya'er Adonai
May the light of God shine upon you and be gracious unto you. May God be with you through the temporary sleepless nights and through the many days of happiness to come. And may God bless the 4 of you with nothing but peace. Congratulations. We have a certificate recognizing her Hebrew name that I'll bring down with you as you make your way back to your seats. And we are honored to sing you back to those seats with words thanking God for giving us life, for sustaining us, and for enabling us to reach this very special moment.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehecheyanu v'kimanu v'higiyanu lazman hazeh. Amen.
Congratulations. Recognizing that sometimes it's hard to make that transition to being a big sister, we wanted to throw something special into tonight's service for Sophia. Although, if you were with us through the challenging days of the pandemic, this song will be as familiar to you as it is to our Friday Assembly congregation, our preschool community that comes together for Shabbat on Friday mornings before the preschool day ends. It is an absolute favorite by Ellen Allard, and I hope you enjoy it as much as we do.
Friday, 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 Friday night, the sun goes down. Friday, 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 Friday night, the sun goes down. What a wonderful Shabbos sound with the singing going round and round on Friday, Friday night when the sun goes down. We light the candles, gonna light the candles, gonna light the candles for the Shabbat, ba. Light the candles, gonna light the candles, gonna light the candles for the Shabbat, ba. Friday, 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 Friday night, the sun goes down. Friday, 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 Friday night, the sun goes down. What a wonderful Shabbos sound with the singing going round and round on Friday, Friday night when the sun goes down. We're gonna pour the wine, gonna pour the wine, gonna pour the wine for the Shabbat, ba. Hey, pour the wine, gonna pour the wine, gonna pour the wine for the Shabbat, ba. Here we go. Friday, 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 Friday night, the sun goes down. Friday, 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 Friday night, the sun goes down. What a wonderful Shabbos sound with the singing going round and round on Friday, Friday night when the sun goes down. We're gonna braid the challah, gonna braid the challah, gonna braid the challah for the Shabbat, ba. Hey, braid the challah, gonna braid the challah, gonna braid the challah for the Shabbat, ba. Friday, 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 Friday night, the sun goes down. Friday, 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 Friday night, the sun goes down. What a wonderful Shabbos sound with the singing going round and round on Friday, Friday night when the sun goes down. We're gonna say the blessings, gonna say the blessings, gonna say the blessings for the Shabbat, ba. Hey, say the blessings, gotta say the blessings, gotta say the blessings for the Shabbat, ba. Friday, 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 Friday night, the sun goes down. Friday, 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 Friday night, the sun goes down. What a wonderful Shabbos sound with the singing going round and round on Friday, Friday night when the sun goes down. Fantastic interpretive dance.
I have to say, I'm a little sad that not everyone was up and dancing.
I was up and dancing.
In spirit, I trust. Indeed, but in a moment, not right now, but in a moment, we'll all be up, just as the mystics in northern Israel were, welcoming Shabbat into our midst as we turn to pages 20 and 21 in the prayer books that can be found underneath your seats. Pages 20 and 21, words of Lecha Dodi, as we continue our evening service, welcoming the presence of Shabbat into our midst.
Lecha lecha dodi, likrat kala, penei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha lecha dodi, likrat kala, penei Shabbat nekabela. La lecha lecha dodi, likrat kala, penei Shabbat nekabela. lecha dodi likrat kala panei Shabbat nekabela Shamor v'zachor b'dibur echad Hishmeyanu el hameyuchad Adonai echad u'shemo echad L'shemu tiferet l'tila la 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 lecha dodi likrat kala panei Shabbat nekabela lecha dodi likrat kala panei Shabbat nekabela likrat Shabbat lechu benecha ki hi mekor haberacha merosh mikedem nesucha sof ma'aseh b'machshava tchila la 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 lecha dodi likrat kala panei Shabbat nekabela lecha dodi likrat kala panei Shabbat nekabela hitoreri ki va'orech kumi uri shir daberi kevod Adonai aleich nigla la 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 lecha dodi likrat kala panei Shabbat nekabela lecha dodi likrat kala panei Shabbat
We invite you to rise as you are able.
Boi v'shalom ateret bala gam b'simcha u'v'tzola toch emunei yam segula boi chala la la lecha dodi likrat kala panei Shabbat nekabela lecha dodi likrat kala panei Shabbat nekabela.
There's a possibility you already know the people whom you are sitting around, and so if I were just to ask you to turn to them, you might not have anything to say other than Shabbat Shalom. But Prime Day was this week. And I suspect many people in this room picked up something on Prime Day. If you did, or if you consciously did not, would you turn to the person beside them as you're wishing them a Shabbat Shalom and tell them your favorite acquisition?
My name's Jacob.
I see that was a good topic of conversation. Oh, friends, when you have finished your greeting, when you have finished your welcoming, I invite you to again find your seats as together we continue our welcoming, having welcomed the Sabbath with words of Lecha Dodi, having welcomed one another with our Prime Day acquisitions. We turn to page 24 in our prayer books as we welcome God's ministering angels' words of Shalom Aleichem.
Shalom Aleichem, Malachei HaSharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malachei HaMlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Baruchuni leshalom, malachei hashalom, malachei elyon. Mi melech malachei hamlachim, hakadosh baruch hu. Tzeitchem leshalom, malachei hashalom, malachei elyon. Mi melech malachei hamlachim, hakadosh baruch hu.
In the middle of page 27, would you join me in the English? Teach me, O God, a blessing, a prayer, on the mystery of a withered leaf, on ripened fruit so fair, on the freedom to see, to sense, to breathe, to know, to hope, to despair. Teach my lips a blessing, a hymn of praise, as each morning and night you renew your days, lest my day be today as the one before, lest routine set my ways. On page 26, we continue words of Chatzi Kaddish.
Yitgadal ve'yitkadash shemei Rabba, ve'amhati v'rachi rutei ve'amlich malchutei, b'chayechon uvyomechon, u'b'chayei techol Beit Yisrael, bagala, u'bizman kariv, ve'imeru amen. Yehei shmei Rabba mevorach, le'olam ulal ve'alaya, yitbarach, yitbarach ve'yishtabach, vitpa'ar vitromam vitnasei, ve'yithadar v'yit'ale ve'yithalal, shemei rekurasha b'richu, le'hela min kol birchata v'shirata, tush pechata v'nechemata, da'at mihiran ve'alma, ve'imeru amen.
On page 28, we find our Baruch Hu praise, and we would invite you to again rise in body or spirit as you are able.
Ya lai lai, ya lai lai lai, ya lai 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 lai, ya lai 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 lai, ya lai 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 lai, ya lai 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 lai, ya lai 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 lai, ya lai 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 lai. Baruchu et Adonai hamevorach. Baruch Adonai hamevorach le'olam va'ed. Baruch Adonai hamevorach le'olam va'ed.
In the English, on the bottom of page 31, this is an hour of change. Within it we stand uncertain on the border of light. Shall we draw back or cross over? Where shall our hearts turn? Shall we draw back, my brother, my sister, or cross over? This is the hour of change, and within it we stand quietly on the border of light. What lies before us? Shall we draw back, my brother, my sister, or cross over? Baruch atah Adonai, hama'ariv aravim. And on the bottom of page 32, everlasting love, you offered your people Israel by teaching us Torah and mitzvot, laws and precepts. Therefore, Adonai, our God, when we lie down and when we rise up, we will meditate on your laws and your commandments. We will rejoice in your Torah forever. Day and night we will reflect on them, for they are our life, and doing them lengthens our days. Never remove your love from us. Praise to you, Adonai, who loves your people Israel. Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael. Pages 34 and 35.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Le'olam Vahed.
You are welcome to be seated as we continue on page 36.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבבך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם להיות על ידך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אדוני אלוהיכם, אמת.
Our service continues this evening on page 40, giving thanks for the freedom that our ancestors experienced from Egypt, a reminder to us in every day and age. Words of Michamocha, page 40.
Ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi chamocha netar b'kodesh, nora tehilot osefele, nora tehilot osefele. Malchutecha ra'uvanecha, okeyayam lifnei Moshe u'Miriam, ze'elianu ve'amru, ze'elianu ve'ameru, Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed, Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed.
And would you join us in the English on the bottom of page 43? Give us a place to rest, Adonai, our God. Bring us into shelter in the soft, long evening shadows of your truth. For with you are true protection and safety, and in your presence are acceptance and gentle love. Watch over us as we go forth. Prepare for us as we return. Spread over us your shelter of peace, over all we love, over our Jerusalem and yours. Baruch atah Adonai, hapores sukat shalom aleinu, ve'al kol amo Yisrael, ve'al Yerushalayim. And on the top of page 44, taking a deep breath into the recognition of the covenant, the specialness of Shabbat, singing our way in with words of Vishamru.
Veshamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berihit olam. Veshamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berihit olam. Eini uvein b'nei Yisrael oti leolam, oti leolam. Veshamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berihit olam. Ki sheishet yamim asa Adonai et hashamayim ve'et haaretz. Veshamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berihit olam. Uvayom ha-shvi'i Shabbat vayinafash, Shabbat vayinafash, Shabbat vayinafash. Veshamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berihit olam. Veshamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berihit olam.
Our service continues now with our Shabbat Amidah, the central portion of our worship service found beginning on page 46. If it is comfortable for you to do so, we invite you to rise in body and spirit as we join together in prayer.
Adonai sefatai tiftach ufi yagi tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu v'Elohei avoteinu v'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, v'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, v'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, v'Konei Hakol, v'Zocher Chasdei Avot v'Imahot, u'Mevi Geula livnei v'neihem, Lema'an Shemo v'Yahava, Melech Ozer u'Moshiach u'Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham ve'Ezrat Sarah, Atah Gibor le'olam Adonai, Mechayei ha'kol atarav lehoshia, Morid hatal, Mechalkel chayim v'chesed, Mechayei ha'kol berachamim rabim, Samech naflim verofei cholim, Umatir asurim, Umekayem emunato, Lishnei afar, Michamocha ba'al gevur ממית ומחיה ומצמיח ישועה ונאמן אתה להחיות הכל ברוך אתה אדוני מחיי הכל אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש וקדושים בכל יום יהללוך סלה ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש.
The traditional prayers that conclude the Amidah can be found through page 60 in your prayer book. I invite you to continue with those words, or perhaps to draw inspiration from the creative readings on the facing page, or inspiration that can only come from each of our own hearts. When you have finished your silent prayers this evening, we would invite you to be seated. We continue adding our prayer for peace to our ardent prayers this evening. Words of Shalom Rav on page 60.
Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amacha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amacha Tasim Leolam. Ki atahu melech adon lechol hashalom. Ki atahu melech adon lechol hashalom. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amacha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amacha Tasim Leolam. V'tov be'einecha levarech et Amecha Yisrael bechol עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amacha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amacha Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam.
On page 253 in our Sidurim, we find words of Mishaberach Lecholim, our prayer for those who are ill, in need of humanity's presence and God's as well. If there are loved ones you are thinking of in need of healing of mind, of body, of spirit, we invite you to share their name aloud as you are comfortable with the community this day.
Jennifer Pickles.
Whitman and Don Mazzata, John Paul Mahovsky, Ukrainian people.
Baruch atah Adonai Rofeh HaCholim. Blessed are you, God, who brings a measure of comfort to all who are ill. We continue, page 253.
Mi shebeirach avoteinu mekor haberacha leimotenu. May the source of strength, who blessed the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Mi shebeirach imotenu mekor haberacha lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
I want to be perfectly clear that I'm not judging. Amazon has a special delivery truck shaped something like a dump truck. Big tires, a bed that raises in the back to dump out a slew of packages cumulatively too heavy for any mortal delivery driver that comes to the Meyer household just about every day. Come to think of it, it may be a dump truck. And it had to make multiple trips after Prime Day. New shoes for the kids, new frying pans, or 3, an Ethernet cable for Cantor Kalix's office. You name it. I'm really not judging. I do, however, want to observe for just a moment. Wow. We, the collective we, me and you and we and all of America, we buy a lot of stuff. If you're curious, and just speaking of Amazon for a moment, Prime Day has eclipsed Black Friday and Cyber Monday. During just the 1 hour that we are together for our Shabbat evening service, people will purchase $17 million worth of products from Amazon alone. And I don't mean to pick on Amazon, but extrapolate those numbers out. Amazon accounts for about 37% of e-commerce. And then there are actual brick and mortar stores. You remember those? We buy a lot of stuff. But here's the thing. While taken in aggregate, we might bemoan our collective materialism and our obsession with things. It doesn't actually translate to each of us seeking to deny our own desires. We might criticize others for what we believe to be their frivolous purchases. The object du jour of generational criticism seems to be Starbucks coffee these days, with the criticism being if you didn't spend $5 on a latte every single day, you could put a down payment on a house. And the response being, you're right. After 13 years of abstinence, I would be a crabby human being, but I could indeed afford a down payment on a median house in Pennsylvania. We tend to criticize others, but we ourselves are quite content with each new purchase. And maybe, just maybe, that's actually okay. As Rabbi Bradley Artson, dean of the conservative Ziegler School of Rabbinic Studies, writes, While some other religions and schools of philosophy may cultivate a disdain for the physical, many voices within Judaism have asserted that possessions are not necessarily evil. We're not a tradition that shuns physical pleasure, be it wine on Shabbat, or maybe a little bit more on the holiday of Purim, or the physical pleasures of a committed, consensual adult relationship twice on Shabbat. And we don't deny physical possessions either. New clothes for the high holy days or for the start of the school year, or even that new Amazon purchase. What matters to our tradition is how you came by those possessions. This week's Torah portion, Matot Maseh, at the end of the book of Numbers, tells us how not to go about our possessions. As the Israelites were preparing to enter the long-awaited promised land, the tribes of Reuben and Gad pulled up short. Wait, just a minute, they said. This land, not in Israel, actually looks a little bit better to us. We have lots of cattle. And by the way, I have no idea how they got lots of cattle wandering around in the desert, but you're just going to have to play along with this one. We have lots of cattle, and our cattle like the fertile lands on the other side of the Jordan. How's about we just stay here while the rest of you go into the promised land? Our commentators judge them harshly for putting their possessions over their kinsmen and over their community. Their possessions became their obsession. They became their whole goal, rather than the means to a goal, or perhaps a fortunate byproduct. The tribes of Reuben and Gad, they show us what we're not supposed to do when it comes to our possessions. So how do we make sure that we remain on the right side of that line, adding the pleasure of possessions without becoming controlled by them or lusting after them? Rabbi Artson suggests 3 possibilities. First, were your ethics in business dealings and with your neighbors above board? Were they transparent? Were they non-exploitative? Did you come by your money honestly? How you come by the money you spend on your possessions? That's what matters to Judaism. Is the way you use your physical possessions considerate of others and done in the moderation that our tradition counsels on all things? And finally, is the way you dispose of your physical possessions when you're done with them consistent with an avoidance of waste and with ecological concerns? If you can answer yes to these questions, to the ethics of economics, to moderation and kindness in use, and to not destroying this world in which we live, you've successfully avoided the trap of Reuben and Gad. Possessions themselves are not inherently bad, so long as the way you acquire them, the way you use them, and the way you dispossess them is in keeping with your highest values. So enjoy those Prime Day purchases in moderation. Friends, I would invite you to turn back now in your prayer books. For on the bottom of page 282, we find words of Aleinu L'Shabeach. Page 282 on the bottom of the page. And when you find your page, we would invite you to again rise.
Aleinu l'shabeach la'adon hakol, la'teit gedula liyotzeh bereshit, shelo asanu kegoyei ha'aratzot, velo samanu kemishpachot ha'adama, shelo sam chelkeinu kahem, vegor aleinu kechol hamonam, va'anachnu korim, ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה ושמו
You are welcome to be seated. As we prepare for words of Kaddish Yatom, our mourner's prayer on page 294, we remember those who have gone before us, including one for whom we are in the period of Shloshim, Robin Snyder, and those whose yahrzeit, the commemoration of their passing, we observe this Shabbat. Erwin Blyman, Harry Bremen, Florence Faber, Isidore Fellner, Edith Schaffel Field, Pamela Friedman Vasquez, Margaret Goldberg, Ruth Kaplan, Claire Landberg, Louis Lenchner, Myron Lewick, Rosalind Markovsky, Karen Perlman, Beatrice Boonen Pollen, Harry Rosenberg, Jeffrey Rosenberg, Abe Ross, Ruth Sajewitz, Joseph Singer, Naomi Sack-Sogoloff, Miriam Solid, Morris Sonberg, Isidore Tabak, Jules Taffler, Sydney Tyroller, and Sarah Zoffer. If there are others whom you are remembering at this time, or if I have inadvertently mispronounced the name of a loved one, I would invite you to share their names with the community. Yehei zichronam livracha. May their memories be for us an everlasting blessing. Words of Kaddish Yatom on page 294. We would invite you to rise in sympathy and support of all who mourn as we affirm these words hallowed by the generations. Yitgadal v'yitgadash shemei Rabba be'alma divrach hirutei v'yamlich malchutei b'chayechon uvyomechon uv'chaye dechol Beit Yisrael ba'gala uv'izman kariv v'imru Amen. Yehei shemei Rabba mevarach le'alam u'lalmei amaya yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yitalev v'yithalal shemei dekudshah b'richu le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechamata damiran ba'alma v'imru Amen. Yehei shalama rabba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru Amen. Osei shalom b'mromav hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru Amen. May God, who makes peace in the highest of heavens, make peace for us and for all who mourn. And together we say, Amen. You are welcome to be seated. Immediately following the conclusion of our service this evening, we invite everyone who has joined us in person to join the beautiful Lily, who I hope is still running around somewhere out there. This entire side of the room lost something to focus on when she left. I hope you will join us in celebrating with the family the wonderful addition to their lives and indeed to this community. I hope you'll take this opportunity to better get to know Cantor Jacobson, who is going to, again, be with us throughout the years to come. And Cantor Kalix, we are so excited to have you with us.
Happy to be here.
A tremendous thank you to Leslie Hoffman, as always, and all who have joined us in person and online. Words of our closing song this evening, recognizing that peace perhaps exists, makes its way into this world through the work of each of our hands.
Peace, peace will come, and let it begin with me. Let's try that together. Peace, peace will come, and let it begin with me. We need peace. Let it begin with me. Oh, my own life is all I can hope to control. Oh, let my life be lived for the good of my soul. Let it bring peace. Peace will come, and let Let it begin with me. Shalom. Shalom. Shalom Yavo.